because as we know, there are known knowns. There are things we know. We also know there are known unknowns. That is to say, we know there's some things we do not know. But there are also unknown unknowns. The ones we don't know, we don't know.
Yes, yes, yes. It's the boxing talk with Raphie. What are we on? What number are we on? I think it's the 17. Boxing talk with Raphie 17. So let me do the sound check. Let me see. Okay, there it is. Let's bring it up. See. Okay. Yep. Okay. So we have sound and we are live. Yeah. So it's Boxing Talk with Raphie 117. And tonight we have the Rick Glaser Q&A. Let me go over to my proper screen. Let me set this up. Okay. Where is it? Let's look for the banner. Okay, let's get a picture up. Do we have it? Do we have it here? We may not, but that's easily rectified. Let's upload a banner to welcome Rick in when he comes in. And where is it? There it is. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, that's my own handiwork. Pretty proud of that, very proud of that. Boxing Talk with Raphie 117. Special Q&A with Rick Glaser. That's what we're doing today. Okay, so that's in order. Now let's go and write this up. What are we calling this one? Q&A. Okay, let's copy that. Let's go over here and paste that. Add and show. Okay, excellente. So, Boxing Talk with Raphie, special Q&A with Rick Glaser. And, okay, who we got? We got Pablo Diablo up in the building, bright and early. Okay, and since to allow people to populate the area, we're going to have to go for the warm-in video. Let's find a suitable one. Where are we? Okay. This is more than suitable. Okay. So the notification now goes out that we are live. So that's good. Allow people to get up in here. Move that out of the way. And let's go. Let's share this thing. Okay. So share. And I think I'm going to go with the application window, or should I go with the tab? Let's go with the tab. Where is it? Okay. There we are. Okay. So let us move into the warming video. Let's take the volume up and go.
Yes. It's Raphael Dawkins on Comeback Radio. And today we look at Anthony Joshua's words regarding Deontay Wilder. He had some very, very interesting things to say during this interview with Chris Mannix. So without much further ado, let's get into it.
Fury versus Wilder. I mean, a fight that you clearly have a vested interest in the outcome. What was your reaction to seeing Tyson Fury stop Deontay Wilder like that?
Yeah, I could say a lot of things, but I'm only going to speak facts on the situation. You know, Wilder's had, I think, 10 title defenses with that WBC belt. So I look across the 10 title defenses that he's had.
Yeah.
So he's fought Still Carl Brazil first. He fought the Maester Brentford. He's fought Ortiz twice. He's fought Fury twice, and I think he fought Chris Arreola or Molina.
Arreola, because Arreola beat Seth Mitchell that time, yeah.
So Arreola. So within those 10, right, I looked at it and I said, okay, cool. We have Tyson Fury twice, Ortiz twice. And they're the top tier fighters in his 10 defenses. And all of those, you know, 4 challenges that he's had with the top tier fighters, he struggled with. So I thought, yeah, of course, Fury's gonna come back. He come back off a long layoff, you know, and I thought he'll come back again and get it right. I know what it means to come so close and have it stripped away. So I just thought Tyson Fury would do exactly what he would do. Tactically wise, I could break that down, but in terms of how he went about it, I just believe that when Deontay Wilder gets to top tier level, it's going to be difficult for him to stay there due to the fact that he had so long bubbling around mediocre fight.
What did you think?
Boom, boom, boom. Anthony Joshua says that because he's been fighting so many mediocre fighters, talking about Deontay Wilder, because Deontay Wilder had been fighting so many mediocre fighters for so long, he knew Deontay was going to have trouble on the top of the hill once he started fighting guys who were on the top of the hill. And so it came to pass. So it came to be. Okay, let's look at this deeper. So Deontay Wilder went in against Luis Ortiz last time and didn't do very, very well at all. Could barely land on Ortiz. People say he barely threw anything at Ortiz, and that's true. So it was a very, very lackluster performance, very poor performance. Yeah, he got Ortiz out there. What was he in the 7th round? In the 7th round with one punch, pretty much one punch. Yeah. Ortiz got up, but clearly didn't seem fit to continue. But let's not get it twisted. Deontay Wilder in that fight against Ortiz too didn't do well. Didn't do well at all. You can't fight that. You can't fight that low output fight against guys at the very top. You can get away with it with a 50-year-old Ortiz. I think he's 51 years old this year. His birth certificate says otherwise, but we know about those Cuban fighters and their certification when it comes to age. It's very, very random what they come up with. So Deontay Wilder beat the 51-year-old Luis Ortiz. And took him 7 rounds, 7 low output rounds. But Ortiz didn't pressure him. Ortiz didn't put him on the back foot like we see here. Allowed Deontay Wilder to just circle around him. The low output fight suited the old man Ortiz for the top level. You can't get away with that. You can't get away with that low output. If you're facing someone who knows what they're doing, who knows to put Deontay Wilder on his back foot. Deontay Wilder can't fight on his back foot. Can't throw the right hand when you're up on his chest, fighting from the outside and then come on the inside. That's what we're talking about here. Okay. So once we saw Deontay Wilder on his back foot, he was all at sea. He was at 6s and 7s, out of sorts. Looked like he didn't belong in there. Looked like he didn't know what to do in there. And that was his undoing, because he hadn't been fighting top level guys, top echelon guys all this time throughout his heavyweight WBC title reign. So when he steps up, you saw exactly what happened. And it didn't look good. Pressure him, put him on the back foot, fight on the outside and then on the inside. No mid-range, outside, and then the inside. Tyson Fury executed the game plan. Let's hear some more from Anthony Joshua.
Of the tactics, though, I mean, we've never seen a fighter take the fight to Deontay Wilder like that, kind of bully the bully.
So with Deontay Wilder, he's a long-range fighter, so he normally puts people on their back foot, and really like leverages off that right hand, comes flying in. So what Tyson Fury seems to have done is, sat on his back foot and edge forward ever so slightly to put Deontay Wilder on his back foot, where I think that Deontay Wilder struggled on his back foot to a certain degree, which we've seen across different fights. So I think Tyson Fury analysed the previous fight, realised that if you take away his half-decent jab and his good right hand, he was slipping the right hand, so it was shooting over. He had more of a chance in beating Deontay Wilder. So his tactics were spot on. Not only did he have the tactics to carry them out, is another thing, and he managed to do it. And after all the hard work, it paid off. So, we have 2 current heavyweight champions in Great Britain right now. So Wilder will be good if he steps aside. Cooler will be good if he steps aside. And we got this fight on because it's one that the world is screaming for.
Would you have thought Deontay Wilder like that if that DAZN deal had come together last year? Would that have been a tactic you would have employed?
It's easy for me to be like, yeah, that's I would have thought it exactly like that. I'm gonna be real, of course. That's the way to take it. So when you look in a warrior's tool bag, okay, and I look in Deontay Wilder's tool bag of weapons, he has a right hand. So I say, how do we take that away from him? It's hard for a fighter to throw a powerful right hand moving backward. So we need to put him on his back foot and be dominant in that thing. How do we take away the right hand when he's on his front foot? I need you to practice slipping it, making it shoot over your head, defending it with the lead hand. So these are tactics I would have done. And I thought, once I take that main weapon away, there'll be problem. I've never really seen him hurt anyone with an uppercut. I've never really seen him hurt anyone with a right hand to the body or with a left hook. So when I looked in the Arsenal bag, I think that's the way: pressure and take away his main weapon, which is his right hand, and then you're 75% of the way to victory.
So the blueprint has been laid. Put Wilder on his back foot, all the way on the outside, and then all the way on the inside, on the attack. Push him back. Slip the right while you're pushing him back. Can he even throw the right when he's going backwards? Very, very difficult task for Deontay Wilder. He's shown he has trouble. He has trouble getting shots off when he's on the back foot. And that was Anthony Joshua's dismantling of Deontay Wilder. He stayed in the shallow end for far too long, and as a consequence, can't cope at the top level. Those are Anthony Joshua's sentiments. Have your say. That's the Raphael Dawkins. It's the Combat Radio. It's the like, it's the subscribe, it's the comments, it's the shares, and it is the hitting the bell icon, staying updated with news and notifications. And don't forget about the live show, Mondays and Wednesdays, Boxing Talk with Raphie. And on Fridays, we take a look at a classic fight, and we dissect it, and we debate. And sometimes it can get rather fraught. We do it for the entertainment of boxing fans. And don't forget, this Wednesday, April the 22nd, is Rick Glaser coming back to join us for a live Q&A. So that's right, Rick Glaser, boxing insider, inside information guy, provides guys for fights, for sparring with us this Wednesday. Live Q&A, boxing talk with Raphie. It's the Anthony Joshua, and it's the Tyson Fury, and it's the dismantling of Deontay, the Bronze Bomber Wilder. It's Raphael Dawkins. It's the Combat Radio. And I'm out.
Okay. So that was that. I believe Rick is waiting backstage. I'm in a different window now, but let's head on over there. Let's get the music up. And that's salt sorted. Was that sharing? Surely I was sharing. I hope I was sharing. I think I was sharing. I know I was sharing. Okay. Let's get back into the proper window. Stop sharing. Rick. No, I think you've pressed. I think you've hit the wrong link. I think you've hit the wrong. No. I can't see you, Rick. So you're not here. You are not here, Rick. Okay, so let's try and do this. I'm gonna have to message Rick right now. I think he's used the previous link. No, Rick. I think you clicked. I think you clicked on last week's link. Last week's link. Make sure it's the latest email. Make sure it's the latest email. Boom. Okay, so just messaging Rick now. He's backstage, but not here. So I think he clicked the previous week's email and he's got to the previous week's link. Make sure it's the latest email, Rick. He's writing. He is writing. Link the email, Rick. If you're not, I'm backstage, then it's not there. This was sent to me 7 hours ago. Okay, so let me send Rick another link. Okay, I'll send another link. Another link. Un momento. Let's get that down. Okay, I'll be with you guys. I'll send another link. Where is the damn link? Where is the damn... Oh, I'll do it right now. I'll do it from the computer. Okay, so invite. Copy. And let me go straight over there. Let me go straight over there. So sent. Rick. Okay. So let me send it to Rick again. Okay. Let me go compose. Let me go Rick. Yep, that's the one. And let me paste that and send. Okay, so I've sent that. Sent the next link to Rick. Let me have a look, see if it looks like the same one I sent before. No, it's a different one. No, it is a different one. So hopefully, yeah, looks like I sent Rick the wrong one. Sent him the wrong one. But now, hopefully, this is the right one. Okay, let's get into the chat. Okay, Pablo Diablo in the building. Hold on, let me tell him to check his email. All right, sent. Check your email, Rick. Check your email, Rick. Cometh the hour, cometh the man. Let me move this banner down. And here he is, Rick Glaser in the building. Sent Rick the wrong link. But we good now, Rick. We're in good shape. How do you do, Rick Glaser? Welcome to Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio Boxing Talk Raphie special Q&A. Special Q&A with Rick Glaser. How do you do, Rick? Getting the angle right. Just getting the suitable angle. How are you, Rick? Can you hear me? Rick can't hear me. Can you hear me, Rick? Rick, how are you?
Can't hear you.
You can't hear me. You can't hear me. 1 2 1 2.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you loud and clear. I can hear you. I can hear you, but you can't hear me. Okay, people in the chat. People in the chat, can you hear me? You. If they can't hear me, then that's a problem. If they can't hear me, that's a problem. 1 2 1 2. 1 2 1 2. 1 2 1 2. 1 2. We can hear. Oh, so you can hear. You can hear both. You can hear both. So you can hear me. Yes. Hear both. I can hear you, Rick. We can hear both. But Rick can't hear. Okay. How are we going to do this? How are we going to do this? Let me talk to Rick. Rick, check your volume. Rick, check your volume. Yes, yes, yes. We got two Ricks. We got two Ricks, and you still can't hear me. I bet
Sorry
Rick.
about that. Yeah, can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I can hear. What?
If I'm doing it from my tablet, I guess it wouldn't work. I'm not back on my cell phone, so what can I tell you?
Oh, okay. Well, we've got two Ricks, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see there, we got Rick. This is like Total Recall, Rick. This is like Total Recall. Okay. So how are you, Rick? How are you? You're okay now?
Fire away. I'm great. Just a little confusion here, but it's for some reason it wouldn't work on my tablet. I don't know why. It was muted out. I don't understand why, but you know, here I am. Fire away. Come on, Ralph. Get to it now.
Rick don't mess around. Rick don't mess around. Rick does not mess around. Don't worry, Rick. I've got this baby. I got this baby all lined up. Well, I got it all planned. I'm just gonna line it up now. So we will have no shortage of questions. You know, I like to think ahead. And where are we? Yeah. So we're right over here.
And he rested both arms.
Right over there. And there are plenty of questions that were asked of you. What is this one? They were asked of you last week that I didn't get to touch on. So ample amount. So I've got the list. I've got some questions over here, and just gonna look at them now, and we're gonna work from last week's list until this week's questions asked by the people this week. Until that gets populated, we're gonna go off last week's list because I didn't really get to ask you. None of them. As a matter of fact, I do recall some questions. I do recall receiving some questions that I've got tucked away over here. Okay. So let's go with the first one. There is it. Okay. I won't be in the chat tonight, but okay. So I think the first question we're going to lead off with is who wins the following? Lennox Lewis versus a prime Mike Tyson. That's the first question of the night, Rick.
Lennox Lewis.
Yeah, and why?
9 out of 10 times. You know, Tyson may get lucky one time. Just to everything, height, reach, and like I explained to you when I was on the show last week, when you're punching down at someone, you get so much more thrust than if you're punching up or out at somebody. And the leverage that he'll get with those punches, and Mike walking forward consistently without a lot of foot movement except going forward, you know, one gear as I call it. Many people call it one gear. I just think that Lennox Lewis picks him apart. The jab is so superior, and everything works off the jab in boxing with 90% of the top level fighters, you know, and you just can't get around that height, reach, just everything about Lennox. You know, gold. There's a reason why Lennox Lewis was a gold medalist in the Olympics. There's a reason why Mike Tyson never got to the Olympics. And that just shows you right there. The footwork wasn't good. And when you're fighting a Lennox Lewis, you've got to be batting on every single cylinder. And Tyson was not that type of fighter. Tyson's great moment in boxing was the Michael Spinks fight. And you know what? That's one night. And you know what? Like I said, if they fought 10 times, Tyson may win one time. But other than that, no.
Okay, so that's the first question, and we got plenty more. Don't worry about that. So Lennox Lewis versus Tyson, you give that to Lennox Lewis. I would agree. The range, the movement of Lewis. I think he takes prime for prime. I think he still takes him. That's a controversial one. A lot of people would disagree with that.
just don't forget one thing. There's something that everybody forgets. Everybody says, well, Tyson was shot. Lennox Lewis was shot. Okay, that was his next to last fight. Then he retired with the title. I mean, he was shot. You know, I mean, he was 36 years old himself. So, you know what? You know, another thing is that Lennox Lewis was superior over Mike Tyson. His ring generalship and ring IQ. And normally they go hand in hand. The big difference between the two of them. Another thing is Mike didn't have a lot of self-control in the ring and as a human being. And I think the self-control of Lennox Lewis speaks in volumes in a head-to-head fight with those two.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So that's Lennox Lewis's verse. That's Lennox Lewis versus Tyson. Mike Tyson, prime for prime. Rick goes with Lennox, and so do I. Okay, so another fantasy mashup: Sugar Ray Robinson versus Marvin Hagler.
Well, they're so far apart in years.
Mm-hmm.
That in prime to prime, the fighters got that much bigger and stronger in that time period. Well, let's just say Marvelous Marvin Hagler was in Sugar Ray's time period. Okay, in other words, with the same strength and everything else like that. Sugar Ray Robinson was a superior boxer. But because they came along, you know, so far apart in time, you know, that, you know, one was prime, you know, in the like around 1950, let's just say, that 30 years difference, they became so much bigger and stronger. And just like they're bigger and stronger than they were 40 years ago. So, but if you were to take Marvelous Marvin Hagler and put him in the same era as Sugar Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray Robinson would beat him every time they fought.
Yes. Yeah. Marvin Hagler was one of my favorite fighters, but I can't dispute that. If they were in the same era, it would be problems for Hagler. It would be problems for Hagler.
Let's not confuse Sugar Ray Robinson and Alan Minter.
Let's not get those confused. Let's not get them confused. No black man is going to take my title. The words of Alan Minter.
All I know is that I was watching the fight. His mouth guard landed in about the eighth, flew out of his mouth in about the eighth round. I thought it was a UFO.
OMG. OMG. Okay, so let's move on swiftly. Okay, so this is a question from Freddy Mars. A question from Freddy Mars, which he posed last week. Actually, I got one from Ross Clark first. Who wins, Floyd versus Sugar Ray Leonard? We got a few fantasy questions first, and then we get into some other stuff.
Well, let's assume that Ray Leonard at 147 and Floyd at 147, because that's really the only weight class where they would have crossed paths. Error for error, because Floyd started out at 130 and really capped out at 147. So at 147, Sugar Ray Leonard would have beat him. He fought too well on the inside, and he was a much better combination puncher than Floyd was. Floyd had to set up with the jab and work off the jab and threw 1, 2, 3 punches at a time. Ray Leonard used to get up volumes of punches, and he would have outpointed Floyd Mayweather. No question in my mind. Better inside fighter, better all-around fighter, more tenacity. Remember, Sugar Ray Robinson went full speed when he was fighting in his top. They were 15-round fights. He went full speed for 15 rounds. Floyd gets through 12 rounds of laboring.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, you know, the pace of the difference of the two is, you know, far superior in Ray's favor, better inside fighter. And I think, and the more of the volume punching, where he didn't have to set up to throw punches, where Floyd had to set up to throw punches.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I would have to go with Sugar Ray Leonard myself. Okay, so what does Rick Glaser think? This is from Freddy Mars. So what does Rick Glaser think of the whole Glovegate thing?
It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. First of all, it does not exist. I went through this on Facebook. I went through this on so many talk shows. It doesn't exist. It's in the LDBC. Those are Photoshop pictures. It's all BS. First of all, to let you know, they don't even in that fight with what's his name, they didn't use red tape. They used red tape on his gloves over the covering.
Yeah.
It wasn't red. I think it was silver or white. So the red tape was. I looked at the film. Red tape. It didn't believe me. It was doctor. It was Photoshop.
It was the first fight. I think that stuff was from the first fight.
It may have been, but it was also doctor. Photoshop. It was no. Listen, those commissions have the gloves. There's an state inspector. They're watching the gloves. There's a state inspector watching the state inspector. It's like going into the casino. You got the pit boss. You got the eye in the sky. You got the stick man. I mean, you got the box man. Everybody's watching somebody. It's the same thing here. Yeah. So everybody's watching somebody. They got they got opposing people, opposing trainer and his assistant in there watching. It's BS. There's no glove gate. It's all that LDBC bullshit, Hamanites.
The Hamanites. The
Hamanites showing their true colors once again.
Yeah, and Lisa Bayliss, once again from last week, she asked the question, she posed the question, what is your stance on current boxing as opposed to the past eras?
I think the fighters I think there's a huge difference. Years ago, they fought, and no matter what day of the week they fought on, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, they were back in the gym on Monday. Today, they don't get back in the gym till they have a signed contract for the next bout. They only fight 2-3 times a year, partly because of it. Yeah. It's a whole different thing. Years ago, give you an example. Years ago, you used to call a manager for a fight. When I started the business in '91, hey, Al, you want this fight for your fighter? Let me describe this fight. Yeah, we'll take it. Now the manager says to you, well, let me talk to the fighter, let me talk to the trainer, I'll get back to you in a day or two. We gotta have a meeting. Meeting for what? Here. I mean, that's one thing. Another thing is, you used to call up a manager for a fighter, and you used to call him at his office or his house before cell phones, and they just, oh, he's in the gym. Today, you call up a guy, a manager, and they say, "Oh, he's in the court. He's in the courtroom right now. He's a lawyer." It's crazy. Fight managers used to be real fight managers. Today, 90% of the fight managers turn into investors and guys that are investors and fighters and yes men. They're not real fighters. The old days of Al Braverman, Patty Flood, some of your legendary fight people. It's not like that anymore. You got a couple good fight managers today, other than that, it's just, they're nothing but like bankers. That's what they are. They turn into bankers.
Damn.
Fire away, Rob. Fire away. Continue.
Yeah, man. I'm lining them up for you. What we got here?
I'm going here, and you're going too slow. You got to pick this up now.
OMG. Rick Glaser going in on the Raphie. Let's give me a chance to line these questions up. Okay, that's no good. Okay, well let's talk about something current anyway. As we scroll up, let's talk about something pretty current to today. We had an interesting discussion. There was a fellow who had expressed the belief that the fight that Mike Tyson in his prime back in the late 80s, and I guess maybe he wasn't in his prime after he came out after prison, admittedly. But anyway, Mike Tyson in his era. The argument that this gentleman came forth with was that Luis Ortiz would knock out everyone that Mike Tyson knocked out?
Yeah, it's very possible. I mean, Mike Tyson was very overrated. Okay, when push came to shove, he bailed on multiple fights. He was knocked out in 5 out of his 6 losses, stopped of some way, in way, shape, or form. Whether he quit, was knocked out, whether he bit an ear, whether he laid on the canvas, he didn't make it to the end. He did not possess inner fortitude when the going got rough. If he was out in front of you, he was like he was like a steamroller. But when you got out in front of him, he was a front runner. So when you got out in front of him, he caved in. And that's what happened in the Holyfield fights. That's what happened in all his losses, except when he was dominated right off the get-go by Lennox Lewis.
Mm-hmm. You're not a fan of Tyson. You're not a fan of Mike Tyson, are you, Rick?
I think he was very overrated.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very, very overrated fighter. I think he was great puncher, and for a short period of time, he was at the top of the game. But who did he fight? Just like Deontay Wilder. I mean, I'm related to Dante. A great puncher, can't box a lick. Mike Tyson wasn't much different. Mike Tyson would have beaten Deontay Wilder. That's how bad Deontay Wilder is.
Mike Tyson would have beat Deontay Wilder.
Easy. First round, just like he knocked out Carl the Truth Williams, Alex Stewart, some of those guys. Yeah, first round.
We agree on that one. Pablo Diablo asks, I don't know if this is a rude question, but they're asking me to ask you, why are you called Rick the Raccoon?
Because I'm legally blind, actually.
Wow.
I can't drive a car. I have no depth perception. I have to go up and down stairs. I got to hold on to the rail. I have no depth perception. I got a multitude of concussions when I was growing up from car accidents, a couple other situations. I was mistaken identity. I was in Florida minding my own business. I got hit across the head with a baseball bat across my forehead. And in '93, I stopped driving. So that's why I'm called the Raccoon, because raccoons can't see in the dark. They tip over garbage cans and all that kind of stuff. So Lou DiBella, it was then my friend. He nicknamed me the Raccoon. There you go.
Nicknamed you the Raccoon. Okay. So
it's stuck. Just like the scum sucking pig stuck. So what the hell,
Okay.
Fair play.
Okay. So people in the chat, get your questions in. And a question from me. What was the falling out between you and Lou DiBella? You were buddies at one time, and then not.
Real simple. He stiffed me out of 7,500 on a deal. I brokered a deal for him, like I always do for people worldwide, get paid, and this for 75,000, and I don't take money from the fighter. I get a premium on top for myself from the person who asked me to make the deal for them. I brought the fighter forward, made the deal, and he stiffed me out of my 7,500. Then he also insulted me to other people and claimed that I was trying to extort him out of 7,500. Man, he's just a pile of rubbish.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. No, that's horrible. That's horrible.
Just to let you know, that was in November 2010 was the fight. It was in September that he did it to me. So you take that money today, that's like 12.5 today in today's money value. So there you go.
Did he get the money? Did he have the money? Did he get the money, or did he just not get the money?
No, he got the money. It was his show. He was getting money from HBO to put one of his fighters on I don't know, maybe it was Golden Boy's show or something. I can't remember. It was 2010. I remember the fight. It was Cavallero and Litzau. I brokered the fight. You're supposed to get 7,500, and he just literally stiffed me.
Oh, that stings. That stings. That stings because
I can live with getting stiffed. Okay, I'm a big boy. Okay, I've been doing this for 29 years. I just turned 62 on Friday. I'm a big boy. But when you go and tell people that I was really trying to extort you out of 7,500, now guess what, guys? It doesn't sit well with me. Nor did it sit well with a lot of other people that completely changed their opinion going forward of Blue Develop.
Money gets in the way. I was watching a program. We're gonna get
money gets in the way of everything, including sex. Don't ever forget that.
Does it? Does it get in the way of? Does it? Relationship? Well, I suppose.
A lot of people have done. Yeah, a lot of people.
I hear that. I hear you. Rick, when you tap on your table, we hear it through the mic. So we're hearing this tapping. Sounds like you're tap dancing with your hands, Rick. But I just thought I'd tell you, because when you watch the playback, if I didn't tell you, you were going to say, why the hell didn't Raph tell me that every time I tapped the table, it was making a sound? So it's best that I just tell you. It's best that I just tell you now. Okay. So we got a couple questions coming in. We're going to get to those in a second. The next question I'm taking from last week, probably go last week, this week, something like that. Ask Rick. This is from Ross Clark. Ask Rick. Ask him, can a fighter really ask for a fight and get it? Or is it ultimately the promoter who protects his fighter? You can interpret that whichever way you want to interpret that.
Great question, actually. Fantastic question. Thank you, Ross. It depends on the fighter, how much juice the fighter has, how close to his contract's almost over, or what his guarantees are. There's so many factors in there. But if a fighter says to his promoter, like Deontay Wilder said to Shelly Finkel and Al Heyman, I want to fight Fury. This was for the first fight. And that's how they ended up with Fury. So yes, it does happen occasionally. Okay, but most fighters are smart enough to listen to their promoter. Maybe Deontay Wilder wasn't that smart. I'm not really sure.
Good question. Good answer. So what's this now? BH is up in the building. Welcome, BH. Please ask Rick about corruption or incompetent judges getting wined and dined by promoters.
Great question. Another one. The judging is not corrupt. Okay, there's way more incompetence than corruption. Corruption is so minute and so infrequently. Now, are they wined and dined? Listen, the promoter gives them money to eat when they're at a fight. They get like $75 a day, $100 a day. They're not really wined and dined. Okay, that's not the truth. The truth is, if they're on the premises for 4 days, they get $300. Okay, everybody does. The supervisor, I do, everybody does. So they're not really being wined and dined by the promoter. That's a fallacy. That's been a fallacy for many years. Very rare do you ever see a promoter sitting there having dinner with a fighter, with the officials before or after a fight. So rare, it's incredible. And if they are there, the other promoter is normally there. If there's two promoters involved with the show, but it's so infrequently that if I've seen it 10 times over 29 years, that's an awful lot. And would say 8 out of 10 of those times, off the top of my head, I think the other promoter was there. 8 out of maybe 7 out of 10 times. But it's everybody gets a food allowance. Okay, so in other words, when I go to a fight, whoever's a promoter, I get X amount of dollars for food. The hotel gets paid for, the airplane ticket, the food, and the judges get the same amount I do. So there's no corruption. They're not getting $2,000 for food money and say, oh, $5,000 for food. Everybody's getting $75. I mean, I've seen them. I've done the guest list for shows, for participants and non-participants for many shows over the years. So I do know from my experiences that everybody gets the same amount, whether it was back in the day $50, whether it's now $75. If you're in New York City, it may be $100. because it's, you know, the high cost food there. But that's everybody gets the same, so they're not getting winded out. Now, incompetence, boxing is the king of incompetence for bad judging. Part of the reason is because these judges are politically appointed by through their political connections by the boxing commissions. Okay, and that's a big issue right there. They judge for the hometown fighter automatically. Ethnically, they judge for, let's just say, you're in Texas and you got you know, you got somebody from out of town and you got a local guy and he's of Mexican descent. You don't have a prayer. I mean, look what happened to Zaire Rahim and against Rocky Juarez, I believe it was. I mean, they got literally robbed. I mean, they might as well taking his teeth and his gonads. It was so bad. You know, but it's not corruption as much as it is favoritism because of personal. Like, another thing, you got another problem is a lot of referees don't like pure boxers, where they like the aggressive guy who comes forward throwing bombs. That's another issue. So, you know, you got to know part of my the services I provide is I check referees out, judges out for people, and they commission me to do that. And I know what style that if I don't know them, I find out. And there's a better chance I know them than don't know them. But if they sign, you know, what does that guy look for? Now, if that guy looks for a pure boxer and you've got a puncher, you know, we're going to try to get him put out of the fight and get somebody else in there, you know, relatively quickly and swiftly. So, you know, forget about the word corrupt. The corruptions in boxing is not there. The corruption in boxing really is the maneuvering of the ranking, and that's not corruption as far as payoff. It's just corruption, like you know, the deals done in back rooms, like for the rankings and stuff like that. That's way more probable than the judging itself.
I vaguely remember a documentary way back when, and it was some hidden camera stuff. I think the IBF. It was about.
He got indicted and he went to prison and stuff. And actually, a great story. The FBI knocked on my door one day long after he got indicted, and I asked the gentleman. They flashed their badges and they said, "How can I help you?" And they said, "We'd like to talk to you." I said, "Well, what's about?" And they told me, "It's nothing to do with you, and we just want to ask you one specific question." I said, "Okay, fine, fire away." He says, "How come that everybody was paying Bobby Lee off but you, Rick Glaser? Why were you the only one that was getting huge favors from this man, but you weren't getting paid off?" And I said to him, I said, "Sometimes he has enough money. Maybe he has enough money, and he was just looking for my kindness and friendship." So, you know, a great relationship with the guy. I never gave the guy time, and they knew it because they had his phone bugged and they had his office bugged. And he got off the phone with me one day, and when I called him up and I asked him to move my fighter one, would you move him up in the rankings, please, Mr. Lee? And he says, "Rick, absolutely for you." He calls in his son from the outer office and he says to Junior, Bobby Jr., he says, "Listen, Rick Glaser's got such and such, and we're going to move him up to number 3 in the rankings." So the FBI was listening, you know, between.
Gotta wait for Rick to come back. They really haven't perfected this internet thing. I think it's the COVID era. It's the COVID time and high internet usage. I don't know. Is this some kind of peak time right now? Probably 5 a.m. on the West Coast over there in America. It's 10 p.m. over here. Maybe this is some kind of peak time. I think, Rick, if you can hear me, yeah, exactly what you need to do. Exactly. Excellente. When it drops out, when your internet cuts out, just drop off, come back in, and you're good.
People calling me. I'm sorry about that.
No, it's no problem.
that's why it happened last week. Because somebody called me, I believe, and I don't know. I don't understand how come that happens, but it does.
It does
So,
not. But what's that guy's name? Lee, Mr. Lee,
yeah, Bobby Lee. Mhm.
Bobby Lee, and he was the head of the IPF.
Yeah, he was the president. He was a very nice man. I never had an issue with him. Never asked me for anything. I was just I always called him. Remember, you're talking about when I met him, it was like 93. Yeah, it was Atlantic City in 93. Here we are in 97. And, I'm a young man at the time. And, I was always Mr. So I just got along with him well, and I didn't have to do anything. Everybody else is supposedly, reputedly, allegedly paying him off, and I wasn't, and I was getting good favors. So sometimes it just helps to be your own person and not flash money around.
I totally can see that. Okay, so where are we going now? Pablo Diablo says, ask Rick, does he think Joe Cortez stepped in too much and stopped Ricky Hatton fighting in his fight against Floyd Mayweather?
I'm not sure what the question means. There's two ways to look at that question. Along the way, he caused too many stops in the action and broke up Ricky Hatton's rhythm and his ability to get it on Floyd. I agree that part. If that's the question, yes. Yeah. If the question is that he stopped the fight too fast in the end, no.
I think the question is the interference. Continued interference.
He definitely. There's not even a question he did. No, there's no question in my mind that there was too many. He caused too many ebbs and flows to that fight when Ricky was putting pressure on Floyd, and that disrupted the whole Ricky's pressure and rhythm and gave Floyd time to rest and go at Floyd's pace, which was even though he had fast hands and fast feet, was a slow pace. He didn't throw a lot of punches. Mm-hmm. So yes, absolutely, no question that Joe Cortez had a huge negative influence on Ricky Hatton in that fight.
Yeah, totally. I have to agree. I was very frustrated watching that fight for the very same reason. BH backtracks a little bit and he says, did Lou have an excuse for not paying you, Rick? Did he have an excuse? Well, he said,
of course. He said I had nothing to do with it. He called me up on a Sunday night, 2 hours later, the guy in. I gave him the guy's information and who to call. I gave him all the information, and I said, send him out a contract. It's a done deal. I called him up 2 days later. I saw it on the fight news, and he says, what do you got to do with it? And he acted like I had nothing to do with it at all. Just a complete scrotum. That's what he is.
That would hurt. That would hurt anybody. Anybody can relate to being stiffed. Anybody can relate to that. That's happened to everybody, hasn't it, at some point? Mm-hmm. Probably for less money than that. Some people for more. But there we go. Ask Rick.
Put it this way to you. Lou DeBell always talked very poorly about Don King. But Don King has owed me thousands over the years, and I got every single penny he ever owed me.
Dang.
And he owed me a lot more than $7,500 at times. Trust me. And I every single penny ever, and that's one of the reasons why, when people say negative things about Don, I never experienced one negative thing about Don. He treated me as an equal on first class, flying with him. I was sitting in first class next to him. I ate with him at the finest restaurants. I met the biggest people, from Don, in and out of boxing, actually. Okay. I mean, Don put me on the phone with the president of the United States, George Bush at the time. George Bush, the second George Bush, the one from 92 to was it 92 to 2000. I'm sorry, 2000 to 2008. That George Bush.
Yeah.
So, but basically speaking, is I can never say a bad word about Don. Don treated me as a contemporary, not as a subordinate, and you can't beat that coming from a world icon.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so who we got next? Remember to smash that like button, folks. Smash that subscribe button. The details for Rick's Are Rick's details in the description box? Let me see. Yep, Rick's details are already in the description box. Same as last time he was here. I just copied and pasted all of that, so you can follow him on Facebook. You can follow him on Twitter. And of course, he's right here, right now. And you can follow me on Facebook also. You can hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. You can hit that like button. And if you want to make a donation, a cup of a coffee, small cup, you can do so via Super Chat. Okay, so the next question is by Fireman. Big up Fireman, big up BH, Bringside reporter up in the building, Frank the French. And Fireman asks Rick, what fight is he most interested in seeing when boxing resumes?
I'm most interested. It wasn't never officially announced. He was supposed to do it May 30th, but due to the coronavirus, they never even officially announced it. I'm most interested in Teofimo Lopez and Lomachenko because the styles are so tremendously different. And left-handed, right-handed, super big power puncher, super slick boxer. Both guys have speed. One's got youth and energy, and the other guy's got huge experience as a real sly veteran. Great fighter. Lomachenko, a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer. I just think that's the fight that I definitely want to see. I don't need to see Fury and Wilder again. Except unless I want to see Wilder get tortured.
You don't need to see Fury and Wilder again.
I don't need to see. That's going to be a beat down even worse this time.
That's what I'm saying. Who wants that? But of course it's going to happen. But while we're talking about that, then You've heard Wilder apparently had surgery on a torn left bicep, Rick. What are your thoughts and observations? Your general thoughts on that? Apparently he injured himself during the fight, and there's reports that he had bicep surgery.
That's excuse 109 on why he lost. I mean, there was the heavy suit. There was problems in the camp. It was too hot. It was too cold. The gloves, even though he didn't say the gloves, he never mentioned the gloves. He knew it was stupid.
Yeah.
But he mentioned every other stupid excuse. So,
yes.
He blaming his corner. He can't fight. The man can't fight. That's what to blame. The man can't fight.
Oh. OMG, Rick Glaser in the building, folks. Not taking any prisoners and shooting straight from the hip. So just remind me, what was the fight you're looking forward to seeing most?
On Teofimo Lopez.
Lomachenko, let me write that down. Let me keep track of this thing. Lomachenko and Teofimo Stevenson. Okay, my pen's gone missing, but I'll remember that somehow. Whatever. Anyway, I'll find a pen when we go to this next question. I'm going to come to that question in a second. I'm going to go to this question first. Okay, so this is from John Dealey. The LDBC have been comparing Deontay Wilder's title run to Muhammad Ali's 60s run. And the difference is Ali fought genuine contenders with one exception. Here's the one exception. Genuine contenders in the main, says John Daly. To compare, so I guess the question is to compare Deontay Wilder's title run to Muhammad Ali's title run. Do you think there's any legitimacy in that?
This country makes a tremendous cars. They're called Rolls Royces and Bentleys. Okay? Comparing Muhammad Ali to Deontay Wilder is like comparing a Bentley or a Rolls Royce next to a common Chevrolet or Ford.
Damn.
That's all there is to it.
Damn. No.
I was asking another talk show, about Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren. I says, what's the difference? I says, Frank Warren is well polished Rolls Royce. Okay, and Eddie Hearn's the Ferrari. Now Eddie Hearn may become the polished Rolls Royce in 15, 20 years, but right now he's the Ferrari, and Frank's the Rolls Royce of the I'm talking about of the European promoters.
Yes. Okay, and moving along, we're keeping it moving. We got the ringside reporter, and the question is, do you still keep in contact with Don King? I think you told us that he still got you on speed dial.
Right. Yeah. Well, if there was speed dials today. Yes. I talked to him. The last time was last Thursday, I believe. Last Thursday. I haven't talked to him this week, and I didn't talk to him over the weekend. Don is the kind of guy, he'll call you 8 times in 3 days, or I'll call him 8 times in 3 days, and he'll call me back 8 times in 3 days, or like you don't hear from him for 5 days. But that's just Don. You know, he's got a lot of things on his plate all the time, public appearances and stuff. And you know, Don will call you at the weirdest time. He'll be rolling down the road in his Escalade. You know, he'll be, you know, his driver or something, or he'll be driving and he'll say, Rick, Rick, I got to ask you something. So Don called one day. He's like, Slick Rick, I got a quick question for you. He says, Don, slow ones work just as well.
Got a question for you. Slow ones. Oh, Rick.
Don says, I got a quick question for you. I says, slow ones as well.
I got it, but it took me a second. It took me a second with the processor speed. Rick likes to keep them rolling, likes to keep them coming. Where are we? Okay, lots of compliments coming in for Rick. And where are we? What's the next question? What's the next question? Okay. All right. So, okay, get your questions in, folks. If you got questions for Rick, get them in. Okay. So,
when I had the cancer, I called up Don and Don King. I told him, Don, I got bad news. I got the cancer. I got cancer. He goes, worse news. He says, worse news for the cancer. You're going to kill the cancer. Trust me.
Yeah, one of those positive friendship. So, Big Boys Boxing, right? So Errol Spence should stay the hell away from Eddie Hearn because Ferrari won the first fight with Spence.
I don't understand that question.
I don't understand it either. You got me. Red Glove Militant understands it. He's laughing. I don't know. I missed out there. I've missed out there somehow.
Crash. Oh, the crash he had. Very good. The crash he was driving Ferrari. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. I was boxing. Yeah. Very funny. Yes. He should stay away from Eddie. No question about that. Very good. That one caught me off guard. Very good. Good one.
That's a good one. Funny. That's a good one. Okay. So where are the questions? I thought the questions would flooding in. You said you wanted a Q&A. Leave it to the people. Left it to the people, and they're slow with the questions. You see, Rick, that's why I like to come prepared with my own shiznicks.
I know what's happening. You guys are great lovers over in England, and there are a lot of people fornicating right now. You know what I mean? That's what it is.
There's a lot of people fornicating right now.
They should be with Raphie on the show here. They're fornicating. Son of a bitch.
I should have followed my own instincts and had my own questions ready, Rick. But I thought I'd leave it to you. Take your lead. And you've led me into the wilderness without water, Rick. Okay, but we're gonna get through this. I may have to revert to interview style. Let's see if we get any questions. People are struggling somehow for some reason, even though they knew there was a 1 week's notice of a Q&A. So everybody had the opportunity to do it, to get it in. Where are we? Let me see if there's any more questions. If not, I'm just gonna have to go from the dome. I'm gonna give the chat a chance. I'm gonna give them a chance, see if they come up with anything. Okay. Right. So, was Rick there when Hasim Rahman beat Lennox Lewis? And if so, what was the atmosphere like? That was in South Africa, high altitude.
I know it well. Here's what actually did happen. I didn't go, okay, because there's too much downtime. I'm a phone guy, and there's too much downtime. I supplied the sparring partners for both guys for that fight and the rematch. And one of the sparring partners ended up in Africa, South Africa, and he never came back. He fell in love over there when he was over there. So
wow.
I supplied the sparring partners both sides. I didn't go. I did not go to the rematch either. I had a show the night before somewhere when they had the rematch in Vegas. The only Lennox Lewis fights I was at his whole career, I was at the Galata fight in Atlantic City. I was at the Shannon Briggs fight. I was at the second Holyfield Lewis fight when Lewis beat him in Vegas. And I'm trying to think what other fight I was at. One other nondescript one I was at. I'd have to think about it for a minute, but
yeah,
I wasn't at a lot of Lennox Lewis fights. He was a client. In other words, Emmanuel Stewart got all his sparring partners from me for him, most of them anyways. And I was a client, but I never got to a lot of his fights. You got to remember something. When you're in the business, you have a lot of conflicting shows, because if they were doing a show on Saturday, you got a show on Friday night, and and you did a show on ESPN, or you just did a regular show or something else, or some other kind of show, a boxing show that you just don't have time to go. You've got so much responsibility and only so many hours in a day. So a lot of conflicting events there.
100%. I can totally imagine that. Does Rick have any? Freddy Mars comes with another question. Thank you, Freddy. Does Rick have any suggestions as to what can be done to get fair judging?
Yes. 5 different things. I get asked this question all the time, but it is a great question, Freddie. You're just not a lone ranger in asking that question. First of all, I think that there should be 5 judges, not 3. Okay, this way you have a better shot of overcoming 2 bad judges in a fight with 5 judges. That's number 1. Number 2, they should have what they call an elite panel of judges throughout the world, and they should pick 50 judges. All the organizations should agree on 50 guys that judge the best fights in the world, the biggest fights in the world, what I call the tier 1 fights. The tier 2 fights, then you stay on that list, but then you go down to the next crew of the best guys, and that's how the fight should be judged. And also I believe that they shouldn't announce the referee and the judges, a month in advance. They should just, everything should be at the last minute and short notice, and you don't announce everything publicly. Then you got the press calling up the judges, and you got too much interference. So there's a lot of things you can do. I saw the word train in there. There's nothing to train. You either can judge a fight or you can't. You can't teach a guy how to judge a fight. It doesn't happen that way. It just doesn't happen that way. Like my instincts in boxing, I had my mentors, but you have to have a base. You have to have a base to be able to do what you're doing. A guy can take you from a B to an A or a C plus to a B. He can't turn chicken shit in this chicken salad. Doesn't work like that.
You certainly get salmonella poisoning from that, so he's certainly not advocating that over here. Okay, so another one. Fireman comes with another one. Boxing match. Yeah, that's a good one actually. Ask Rick, what does he think about boxing matches without no fans? No fans.
I think it's a horrible thing. We're going to have to do that because the fighters deserve better. The the TV networks and the streaming companies deserve better. But we're in a right now we are in a current era of we have no choice. NASCAR over here is going to run races with no fans in the stands. Baseball's going to do it. Everybody's doing it. It not singled out the professional boxing. So you have a situation where, yes, it's a horrible thing we're going to have to deal with. It's going to be loss of revenue for the promoters, for the fighters. We're going to be in a recession. It's going to be loss of sponsors for the promoters and the TV networks. So everybody's going to have to chip in a little bit and do their fair share, and bear with it. That's all that you can do. There's nothing else you can do. But you need cooperation from everybody. You need cooperation from the fighters, the managers. You need fighters from the promoters. You need, the TV networks, everybody, the boxing commissions. Everybody's got to get together and get their heads on straight because, we're going to be in a very, very telling period for all sports going forward for quite a while. And I think it's going to be up till probably next year and a half. That I'm not saying we won't have crowds in faster than a year and a half, but I think issues because of coronavirus will linger now for probably a year and a half.
Damn. Very pragmatic. Okay. Big Boys Boxing has a question, and that is, do you think who do you think wins between if Joseph Parker, Dillian White, and Joseph Parker were to fight again? Who would you pick? Who would you have winning?
Oh, Dillian White. Too much fighter for Parker. Parker's a poser. Parker's a poser. He doesn't throw enough punches. Dillian White will be in better shape the next time than he was the last time. A little bit of everything. Just a much better fighter. As I told somebody, the best thing Parker's got going for him, a great chin.
Yeah. He does seem to, his chin does seem to stand up. I put one on Raph. Yeah. Good. Excellente. Ringside reporter, why are you so critical of Al Heyman?
Because he walked into the business. He was, as I say about Al Heyman, he was brilliant enough to raise $550 million and stupid enough to blow it up in 30 months. And that's okay. He could have done great things. Instead, he tried to monopolize the business. I understand free enterprises for personal gain. I'm not an idiot. I'm a businessman. I get it. But we don't go about doing things that are totally against the grain of boxing in a negative way that impacted the sport. We have a whole slew of networks that don't even want to hear about professional boxing because they dealt with Al Heyman when he had the $550 million. NBC Sportsnet, what is this? Spike TV, ESPN didn't want to hear about Heyman. They went right to Aram. The list goes on and on. There's like 7 TV networks that don't want nothing to do with the guy. So that or have anything to do with boxing, period, because of Al Heyman. He ruined a lot of things. Fighters used to fight one another. He sets up bad. Like I said to you last week on the show, Raphie, he's an obstructionist of great fights, and he's an enabler of horrible fights. Said it last week, and that's how he did not withstand and contour to his way he did business to the traditions of professional boxing, and it took a big piece out of his ass for sure. It knocked him down quite a few pegs. That's the story of Al Heyman. Let me say one more thing. I'm against anybody who does anything against professional boxing. Doesn't matter, not just Al Heyman. Anybody who does anything against professional boxing or hurt boxing, I'm against. So just to let you know, that's how I feel.
Yeah, excellente. And do you think that social media is ruining boxing?
No, absolutely not. It's help boxing. If you go on Twitter and anytime in the middle of the night you press and you punch into hashtag boxing, there's 200 minimum of 270 people trending on boxing at that point, using the word at that particular moment, using the word boxing. And it's fantastic. You go on the NFL or any of these other sports, it may say 60, 70, 80, nothing. Boxing, 270 minimum. So there's your answer right there.
Excellente. Excellente. Red Glove Militant says.
Rhythm. Come on. Come on.
I'm here. I'm ready. I got it lined up. Red Glove Militant says. Red Glove Militant up in the building.
I'm coming out of the corner like Mike Tyson. You want me to come to the Ladies Squirrel Club? Come on now, Raph.
You're too fast for them. You're just blitzing them out. I told you, machine gun, Glaser. Red Glove Militant up in the building. Does Rick think Eddie Hearn, Bob Arum, or Al Heyman can get labeled an essential business in Florida like the WWE have done? So the WWE, they're holding fights in empty places.
Aron's not going to probably have to go that far. He'll do something somewhere on the West Coast, closer to Vegas. But the answer to that question is that, remember, WWE is not a sport. It's a theatrical performance. It's not real. So you cannot compare it to a sport that people are sweating profusely in for when people are just going through the motions like they do in that sport. You're talking about something completely different. But the answer is there will be boxing in Florida relatively quickly is the answer. Whether they do it or Tutu Zabala from All Star Boxing, who does the Telemundo shows on Friday night, who's based in Miami himself. He does a lot of shows in Kissimmee and other shows at Miccosukee down there. If you're asking me, he might be the first one to go and do those shows, but there will be boxing quickly in Florida.
There will be boxing in Florida. That was from Red Glove Militant. Another one from Red Glove Militant. Does Rick think Dennis Hobson is a good promoter? Dennis Hobson was more, I consider Dennis Hobson a very, very good manager / promoter. He was more of a manager, but he's a quality boxing guy. No question about that. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a better way I think whatever Dennis wanted to be within reason, he would be successful at. He's one of those type of guys. Yeah. The rematch clause. Are you a fan of DAZN and ESPN Plus? And do you think
I touted the apps 3 years ago. I started touting the apps on social media and on talk shows just like yours, Raph, 3 years ago. And I said apps were the wave of the future. I get the ESPN Plus app. I get the DAZN app. I get the athletic.com app, which is not live boxing, it's sports in general. And I'm a huge believer in apps for professional boxing. And I wouldn't consider going without either one. I also watch other sports on the ESPN one, like college basketball and some baseball, and Major League Baseball last year I watched. But as far as for boxing, they're fantastic. You can't beat. Listen, ESPN Plus is $4.99 a month, and the other one is $20 a month without the subscription. With the subscription, it's like $10 a month, whatever. It's just you can't go without it. You know, I mean, how could you be call yourself a boxing fan and don't spend $25 a month on people that are spending millions and millions and millions a month every month on boxing? You got to support those that support boxing. They're supporting boxing. We need to support the apps. Get your apps now.
Absolutely. Red Glove Militant comes with a joke. Raphie is not responsible for getting you a new phone after smashing your phone while smashing the like button. 100%. Okay, so let's go to last week's questions. I did highlight a question over here. Didn't highlight the question. Where is it gone? Where has it disappeared to? Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Okay, give me a second.
30 more minutes. Yeah, 30 more minutes of questions because at 6 o'clock, my wife's serving me an incredible meal.
Excellent.
Wonderful dinner.
Excellent. Okay, so 30 minutes. Okay, easily. I'll give you a safety margin of 5 minutes. We'll keep you for 25 more. I'm going to keep you for 25 more.
Keep going, Raph. Come on now.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm looking.
You sound like a guy on the back nine. You're heading towards the clubhouse. Come on now, Raph. Come on.
I'm looking for these questions, man. I'm looking for these questions, but you know what? I think we're just gonna go at this stage now. The questions have dried up, so we're gonna go to this stage now. You've killed him. So we're gonna go to the stories. We're gonna go over to some stories and get your opinions on some of these stories, and then we are good. Okay, so I'm just gonna give you some headlines, and you can give me your responses, Rick. Okay, first one I'm gonna go with is as a matter of fact, let me share the screen so you can see it for yourself. Share the screen. Boom. Okay, so Wilder, I felt like a zombie against Fury. I wasn't there from the first bell. It wasn't me. I felt like a zombie as soon as it started. Where's the quote? There it is.
Right.
The thing about it is it's easy. It's what are you saying, Rick?
The excuses just keep rolling in. It's a new day, a new excuse. It's ridiculous. He got the shit beat out of him like I said he was gonna. It didn't take a rocket scientist to see that Fury was just coming back with 2 stiff wins. And then they put him in, and he wasn't in any great shape yet. He got in great shape. He had 2 more fights, and he looked like $1 million. It's a different league. He can't beat those kind of guys. I tell you what, he can't beat Daniel Dubois right now. He can't beat Joe Joyce. He can't beat Dillian White. He could never beat Dillian White. Okay, he can't beat any of those guys. Okay, nobody.
Damn. So be clear, folks. Be clear that we are in harmony. Rick and I are in harmony on our views on Deontay Wilder's skill level. Would you?
I think you meant lack of skill level.
Lack thereof. So Rick, would you have to give Deontay Al Heyman some credit for nursing Deontay Wilder to the position he got to?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like I said last week, Deontay Wilder was a figment of Al Heyman's imagination. So of course, absolutely, I give the guy a lot of credit. But that's like saying I'm going to give Al Heyman credit for robbing a bank out of 550 million, robbing a financial institution out of 550 million. Now, I didn't say he robbed them, but he took their money and they didn't get a good return on their investment. That's for sure. They lost a lot of money. So, I mean, you're rewarding somebody for doing something bad. He did something bad. He perpetrated a fraud on professional boxing. Going back to what I said, anybody who does anything negative against boxing, I'm totally against. I'm a traditionalist. Did he do a good job? Yeah, but how did he go about it? As far as the motive, it's a horrible thing. You're perpetrating a fraud on America. I mean, you're selling Ortiz as a 40-year-old or 38-year-old back then. Now he's 51. You know,
yeah.
I mean, just everything they did. To put the guys in that they put him in with, it was embarrassing. It really was.
Yeah.
Come on. Please.
Yeah. Absolutely embarrassing, and I think that's the reason why.
You know the only difference between Fury and Dillian White right now? You know what the only difference is? The only difference between Fury, White never got the opportunity to do what Fury did to Wilder. He didn't get the opportunity. That's what I will tell you.
100%. I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that. There's some people say, oh, well, you can say that now because Fury's done it. But no. I thought any of the top guys who got to Wilder first was going to do him in.
Mm-hmm.
They were going to do him over. Pure and simple. That's my thought. That's my philosophy. That's what I believe. Okay, so we move that one out of the way. Where are we? Okay. This is an interesting one. Let's show it. Let's show it on the screen. Let's show it on the screen. And you'll be able to see for yourself. Where is it? Boom. Boom. Devin Haney says he is no racist. Rejects discrimination of any kind.
Well, I like Devin. I think he's a really good fighter. I was really pissed off at what he said. It was uncalled for. It was out of character for Devin, and I decided to give him a pass. And on it, not that my past means anything to him, but I'm going to live with it and say he's a 21-year-old kid, and he was in a talk show with those LBB, Haymanites, agenda crew, and that's what that was all about, you know. Yeah. And I'm going to give him a pass. He's a quality young guy. I know people that know him personally very well and say, "Oh, he's a good kid. He's nice. He's polite. He shakes hands." I'm going to give him a pass. Do I like what he said? No, I don't agree with it. I don't agree that he should have said it. All I know is if it would have been a white fighter and he would have said, no black would beat me.
Oh,
well, guess what? He'd be lynched.
Oh, damn. Yeah, hell yeah. That would be. Well, that's what Alan Minter did, isn't it? That's what Alan Minter did.
Remember one thing. He didn't say no white man can beat me. White boy. That's the ultimate.
Well, yeah, he did say that. He did say white boy. Yeah, he did, and highly unfortunate. But I'm kind of with you. I think he seems like a nice kid. I think it was in. I said it at the time. I asked people. I said, "Do you think the environment played a part in what he said?" And I think
a hater. That guy's a racist hater. Did you hear what he said about Martin Luther King and about killing those people who killed Martin Luther King and all that kind of stuff? You know, it's just, you know what? It never stops with when people are not highly educated. The racism never stops.
Yes.
When people, you ever notice, 99.9% of racists are very, very low educated. Mm-hmm. People that are educated are not racist.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine you can have educated racist people, but I hear what you're saying. The preponderance of the racist people would be at the lower end of the IQ scale.
Right. Very, very, very slim.
Correct.
Yeah. Can be, but they're very slim.
Yeah. So, I agree with what you said. I think ultimately he's a good kid, but he was in some bad company. Let's face it, that was bad company. You know what I mean? He wasn't keeping very good company right there. And so let's go on to the next one. I hope this is quick enough for you. I know you like the quick fire. I hope this is quick enough for Rick. You don't like no delay. So let's share the next one. And boom, Cruz Dezern. Jimenez should be suspended for at least 2 years. Jimenez, you know that Jimenez girl, the super middleweight. Where's the picture? There she is.
First of all, they can only suspend you as long as you're by law. They can only suspend you as long as your license is. Do they have to sanction her in a WBC fight again, or WBO, or whatever title it was, a WBC? No, they don't have to. They could suspend her for that activity, but you can only suspend somebody while they're licensed. So once the license is up, they can't suspend her anymore. They got to lift her off. But nobody should ever use her again. There's no reason for it. I mean, you could see something was wrong as soon as you saw the fight. I know the other woman. The other woman can fight, and she's a tough, strong woman. And the other one was pushing her around, so you knew something was wrong.
Yeah, I agree. Something looked a bit supernatural there. Something looked a little bit supernatural there with the Jimenez, I think the Brazilian lady. They say she looks like a man. And then of course, I'm not sharing. And of course you have Cruz Dezern, the deposed champion, looking decidedly over here, looking decidedly more feminine than the Brazilian Jimenez. I think she's Brazilian, Mexican Jimenez. My bad. Please excuse me. And so let's move on swiftly. Not messing around. Where are we? Okay. This is interesting. This is applicable. To what we're talking about. Okay, let's show the screen and the headline. Okay, so Hearn planning 4 to 6 weeks of closed door cards when the lockdown ends. I think you touched on it a little bit before. You want to touch on that? You want to touch on that a little bit?
It's what everybody's going to have to do. It's not like he's not He's not the first to announce it. Top Rank's already said they're going to do that. PBC said nothing, but see, TVC's working with a big advantage. Nobody goes to their shows anyways. They paper the house anyways, so it doesn't really matter for PBC.
Don't really matter for PBC. Okay, so that's the reality of boxing when it comes back. Okay, quick fire round. So Spence to doubters, keep talking. I'm gonna prove everybody wrong. So he reckons when he comes back, yeah, everybody can keep yapping their jaws, everybody keep flapping their jaws, but when he comes back, he's gonna show that he's still got it in abundance, says Errol Spence. What say you, Rick Glaser?
Well, you can't take a finely tuned athlete, flip over your car, get thrown out of your car, be laid up in the hospital for a long period of time, go through therapy, rehab, however you want to call it, and come back the same that he was. Not happening. He's not going to be anywhere near that he was. And also, can he make 147 to be strong again and do it safely and be strong? That's the other question when you're out that long and your weight balloons up that much. The other question is, to be perfectly frank with you, make a statement to you. It's a long way from the lip to the ring. We haven't seen him fight yet. Okay, we'll quote. We'll see.
We shall see. We're gonna see. We're gonna see what happens. There's a long way from the lip to the ring. Where are we? I think we're gonna finish it off on. are we gonna finish it off on that one? Yeah, let's finish it off on this one. Okay, so that's not the end of the show, folks. Where Rick's got to get prepped for dinner. His lovely lady wife is cooking him something very, very nice, no doubt. And so let's get into this one. Charles Martin. He says, gun shy Joshua, scared to get punched. I want to knock him out. I want to knock his block off.
Please, has no prayer. I got the same. I'll tell you what, I got about the same shot of beating Joshua as he does, and I'm 62 years old. Come on.
OMG.
By the way, how do you sell that in a rematch? The guy got toasted in 3 rounds. How do you sell that in a rematch? You don't. There's no way in life that you can sell that garbage.
There's no way. No way whatsoever.
It'll be criminal. It'll be criminal if he becomes the mandatory contender, because he'll end up throwing the IBF belt in the garbage, because Eddie Hearn and DAZN won't do that. fight. So he'll have to throw that IBF belt in the garbage.
Damn.
That'll. Yeah, he won't. They will. Why would they do that? But who's going to come pay to watch that fight? Who's going to pay on the app to watch that fight? Buy it for the month. Nobody's going to do that. Why would anybody? Why would anybody do that?
We've already seen that fight. We've already seen him. We're talking about Washington. No, not Washington. Charles Martin. We've already seen him lose to Kawanaki. And then we watched Kawanaki get knocked out by Washington.
No. Kawanaki got knocked out by Robert Hellenius, and Washington knocked out by Charles Martin.
That's right. Yeah.
The point is, nobody can sell that fight. Period. End of story.
Unsellable. It's unsellable. Right. It's just unsellable. Very, very, very pure and simple. And let's have a little look before we say thank you. And make sure you smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and for sure after the show, go and follow Rick Glaser on social media. And of course, if you got social media, share this as well. Let them know that Rick was here. So let me see if there's any question left for Rick. I want to make sure he's ready. He's ready for evening. What do you think about 90 seconds? Oh, BH says, what do you think about 90 seconds between rounds? More recovery time, but might be dangerous at the same time. Increasing the recovery time between rounds.
It gets away from the traditional boxing, but I think what they do need to do is they need to have the corner inspectors be more relevant in each corner, and also both corner inspectors. I think the referee needs to visit both fighters in the corner in between rounds, no matter what round it is. I'm a big advocate for safety, but giving them 30 seconds more to recover is not the answer.
Not the answer.
No.
So my question, my follow-on question to that is women's boxing. What's your views on women's boxing? I hope I haven't hit a nerve there. I'm
appalled by it. I don't like it. I believe women should have wonderful jobs and be the best people they can be. Women were not made to fight.
Yeah. I agree. Sorry, ladies. I follow a few of the lady boxers. But I'm sorry. I have to agree with Rick.
I'd rather say a woman in a pair of nice high heels I would boxing shoes on. I'll leave it like that.
Damn, we're going a bit close to Tyson Fury, circa 2018, 2017. So we'll leave it at that. But I hear you. You don't want your lady to have suffered traumatic brain injury, concussions. You don't want the person who's going to be raising your kids to be someone who
enough to deal with without them suffer mental damage. Please.
You don't want the mother of your children to be a head case. You don't want that whatsoever. And Red Glove Militant says many of today's boxing.
I would hate to have my wife get hit in the face or the head, but she would like to see me get hit in the head or the face. So I'll leave it like.
Of course. And yeah, well, I think we got one here from Red Glove Militant. Many of today's boxing fans say the belts don't mean anything. Rick, do you think that's a valid statement?
No, because Devin Haney without that belt would be a $50,000 fighter. He's getting a minimum of $1 million a fight, as one example. So that's completely false.
So the belt.
He was a $50,000 fighter. He wasn't a champ. No reporter would call him up and give him an interview. He'd be begging for an interview. And in the meantime, he's going to become more famous and everything else, make more money, and that's why these guys fight. It's called prize fighting. It's part of the prize. The belt is part of the prize, and it makes the fighters a lot more money.
Damn. And with that, We're gonna let Rick go a little bit early, make him nice and comfortable. Rick, you've been here.
I'd like to say thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, just like it was last week. I love to be on anytime you want. That's your call.
Definitely
I'm available for you and all the people that follow your show and subscribe to your show. But if they're not subscribing to your show, they're doing something wrong.
You heard it here from Rick Glaser. The inside man is we definitely want him back. I've got the feedback from you guys. You want him back. I want him back. So we're going to get Rick back. Rick says he's coming back. We're going to get him back the latest on next week. Next week, same time, but probably I'm going to speak to Rick and see if we can get him on again before the end of the week.
Okay. Forget it. Everybody, please follow me. I'm on Twitter all the time. I love it. It's at Real Rick Glaser 1. Glaser Glaser at Real Rick Glaser 1. And I came on January of 2020, just a few months ago. So there's a lot of fake Rick Glaser accounts out there. But the real one is January of 2020. I came on Twitter.
And
Raphie, to say thank you very much for having me. It's been a pleasure. I love talking boxing with a quality guy such as yourself that's knowledgeable, and you're quite a host, and you're very inspirational to me, because if it wasn't for you right now, I'd probably be just doing nothing. So you put me at the top of my game, Raph, at the top of my game.
Hey, Rick, we truly appreciate you over here. I think you know it. I think you feel it. And definitely going to get you back the latest next Wednesday, but I'm going to be hitting you up because I've got an idea.
Okay, listen, just to let you know, okay, yeah. I'm feeling the love from across the pond.
Rick, it's genuine. It's real. You're a man we used to see every now and then, here and there, but now the Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio crew regard you as one of us, Rick. You're one of us. You're one of us, my friend. You're one of us. And so anytime, and for sure, you probably haven't subscribed to the channel. So take the flag, Rick. Take the flag and subscribe to Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio.
You didn't even know I hadn't done it yet. I'm telling people to subscribe, but I didn't even do it. Yes, I will. Thank you. I didn't even realize I didn't do it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Much appreciation, Rick.
Yep. Have a wonderful evening, folks. Okay. See you next week.
Thank you very much. See you next week. That was Rick Glaser, who was kind enough to jump on with us. And we got another 15 minutes. We got another 15 minutes just in case anybody wants to jump on. We got another 15 minutes. Let me go through the chat. Okay, where do I start from? Yeah, I thought she was, I said Brazilian for some strange reason. They don't, more Mexican lady, only with low intellects. Yeah. Well, some people, I mean, I don't really agree with that because, if you look at Germany and the whole eugenics movement of, certain people have got to go. We want somebody to look like this and not look like that. And highly intelligent scientists have been of that persuasion, a racist persuasion. So I don't know if I agree with that, but I think, I don't know, man. It's a tricky one. I can see both arguments. I can see both sides of the coin. Smash that like button, folks. Smash that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Do not be afraid of the, what do you call that button? The super chat button. Don't let it worry you either, though. Yes. So what we got here? Scrolling through some of these. He could be gender fluid. I once said to a lady, I once addressed her as what did I address her? Lady. I addressed her as a lady, and she looked at me very offended, and said, I don't, what did she say? I don't identify as a gender. I said, what? She said, I like to stay gender neutral. And that was and that was an interesting one to me. It was a new one to me. Yes. Frank the French says, thanks, Rick. Brilliant live stream. Pablo Diablo says, big up, Rick. Red Glove Militant says, thanks for everything, Rick. Freddy Mars, thank you, Rick, for your time. 100%. Loving the boxing training. Well, you doing some boxing training with Layla? Have you stepped up from the slippers yet? And the socks on the hands? Have you moved up? Yeah, no, there are some attractive ladies out there, but I gotta have to agree. I wouldn't like the concept of having the lady in one's life suffering from repeated concussions that you get from being punched in the head repeatedly. I don't think a mother should have to suffer that kind of brain trauma. I wouldn't be cool with it. At all. Behind every beautiful woman. Okay. Good stuff, Rick. Hope you come back again. Definitely getting Rick back on again at the latest next Wednesday. No fear, have no fear. You got the Rick's email and Twitter are all in the description box. And my Twitter is in the description box also. Yeah, absolutely. I'd watch Martin versus AJ for free on DAZN. Is it free on DAZN? Or you mean for the subscription price? Yeah, for the subscription price, it ain't really that much at all. Brilliant stream. I'm Raps promoter. Excellente. Don Dawkins and Rick the G Glaser. Rick the G Man Glaser. Who's this T White? T White. I just realized T White is the fight doctor. The fight doctor. I think T White's been over here a few times before. I didn't realize it was the fight doctor. Fight doctor, you're always welcome over here, bro. You're always welcome over here, bro. You know, we have differences of opinion, but you know, hey, that's what makes the world go round. Everybody's different. Everybody feels differently, and we certainly feel differently about the belts, my friend. We certainly feel differently about the belts. Okay, so what can I say? It's been a great one. We've had Rick on, and yeah, excellente. Thank you, Rick Glaser. Yeah, I'll be talking to you soon. You know, get together, get our heads together, and make it happen again for the Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio crew and all boxing fans who love the game and love to talk about it, love to chop it up. You know, this is a happy home for y'all. Oh, yes, we're all off now. Are we? Once COVID is over, she's back at the gym and ready, mate. Yes. Go on, Layla. Small steps and all that. Absolutely. Absolutement. Frank the French says it's nice show. Raph, I'm off. Yes, we're all off. It's the Raphael Dawkins. It's the thanks for coming. It's the share the videos on all your social media platforms. It's the thank you to the Rick Glaser. It's the thank you to you. And what can I say? It's the like, it's the subscribe, it's the comments, it's the shares, it's the Frank the French, it's the Pablo, it's the T White, aka the Fight Doctor. We had a nice chat earlier on today, And I'm sure we're going to chat again over here on Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio. So, what can I say other than? It's the Pablo, it's the Red Glove Militant, it's the Freddy Mars, it is the BH. And where are we? Scrolling up, we're scrolling up. It's the Big Ant up in the building. And to everybody, I think Ross Clark was in here. Yeah, to everybody. Have a blessed one. We're back on Friday with the classic fight. Looking at a classic fight and the story behind it. Getting into that. Getting into it. In the COVID era, it's the Fireman. It's the T. White. It's the Raphael Dawkins. It's the Rick Glaser. It's the Ringside Reporter. Many, many, many more. And the only thing left me to say is blessed.